Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Got a Girl podcast. This is your mentor, your freedom mentor, Coach Jackie here. And I'm just so excited to once again introduce you to another amazing friend of mine and peer in this world of business and entrepreneurship. Excuse me. Good morning, Greggies. We are on a Saturday morning and my body is still waking up. And I'm just going to hand it over to Tanean to tell you, but all I know is that we've just met, but I feel like I've known her for a really long time. Even though we just met a couple months ago. And that says a lot that I wanted her immediately on my podcast because that's how much I've connected with her energy, her pure joy when you meet her. So let me hand it over. And if you're not listening on, we do a lot of descriptions. If you're not listening on YouTube, feel free to pop over to YouTube so you can see these people that I'm talking about. But if you're listening on any podcast channel, we're super grateful for you to do that. So thank you so much. And Tanean, tell us all about yourself.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, since the first time that we met, you and I have definitely connected. You were so welcoming on the our polka dot group. And you were the first person that reached out to me and we connected and had a video chat and it's been amazing since then. So thank you. My name is Tanean Schaller. By day I am a full-time paralegal in high net worth insurance industry, in general counsel, and I love my career as a paralegal. Worked really hard to get here, and I don't see myself leaving it at any time soon. I'm also an entrepreneur. I recently launched my pink seal notary, and that is something that's probably way overdue. I have been a notary. I was a notary for 8 years in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And I never knew that a notary can be anything more than, a stamp and a signature. And on, corporate documents, legal documents, from being a paralegal for so long. And then in the last 2 years, I realized that we can be so much more, independently as entrepreneurs, not just for our employers. So after researching that, I've just, launched into loan signings, mortgage loan signings, which has been tremendous. I'm on several platforms for that, a remote online notary for general notary work, for estate work, for, vehicles. It's the opportunities are endless, as well as branching out into doing field inspections, taking photographs of homes, whether it's for appraisals for refinancing their home or it could be a property management company wants photos of the home. You would just go out to these local areas, you set your area, you go out and you take pictures, you submit it through the wrap. So there are so many different ways to earn income and build on that I love. And then outside of all of that, the most important parts of me and the most important people to me call me mom and Gigi. I have 3 adult kids. My son is a career Navy guy, and he has a beautiful wife and 2 small children. Eleanor, who is 4, and then, Finley, who is just about to be 2 years old in July, probably just before this comes out. And then, my Melissa is in Florida. Oh, Joey's in Virginia. And then my Melissa and her husband and 2 babies are in Florida, where I go visit quite often. And my grandson is just about to be 7. I can't believe it. And granddaughter just turned 3. Or no, she's going to turn 3. Oh my gosh. She's so tall, she looks like a 6-year-old. But and then my youngest, who I hate to say youngest, but she's 32, and her daughter, my granddaughter, is 6, and we all live together,
Oh, that's beautiful.
here in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
That's awesome.
So, that's my why. Everybody says,
Mhm.
well, what's your why? My why is just my legacy and what I'm going to be leaving, in my reputation and how I show up, how people know me, and for my kids and for my grandkids, and hopefully
Mhm.
I make them proud.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how watching people light up when they talk about their grandbabies. It's so cute.
Right?
Because I know like I took the easy route. I went right from, no kids to grandkids with my stepchildren that
Perfect.
I married into 3 years ago. So I got the easy route. But when I think about them, when I talk about them, when I see them, it's just such a light. And
Yeah.
you don't understand until it happens. And when it happens, you're like, wow, they're right.
Oh, yeah.
So, so cool. And then I loved we talked yesterday, and I loved when you said that I'm building this notary business for the like to hand down to my daughters if they want it one day, one of my kids if they want it one day and they want to do this.
Right.
It's something that they can step into. And I love that you also said, I wish I had started earlier. Like I could have done this for many, many years, and I think that a lot of us have that statement in us somewhere, like that
Right.
it's like, oh, I could have started earlier. I could have, but we don't ever want to shit on ourselves or, shame ourselves or something. But at the same time, what is it that you're saying right now for the listeners? What are you saying right now that like you really would love to start and get started on and go for it and do it that you're just holding off? Well, another day, another year. Then all of a sudden 3 years go by, then 5 years go by. So I love that you said that because it's a reminder to like, if you've got a nudge, do it, go for it. Like,
Right.
and now you're building something really magnificent. And so I'm excited for you. So this is the I Got It Girl podcast, right? And so I call the I Got It Girl. This is a saying that I started saying to myself a lot. And I think a lot of us as females have said to us, I got
I
it.
got
I
it.
got it. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
got it.
No,
No
no, no.
problem.
No, it's fine. I got it.
Yeah, yeah. I always joke. I said, I'll carry 3 suitcases on my head and open the door myself. Please don't be kind and help me. No,
Right.
don't.
Right.
And the visual of like the woman carrying a million things, a million plates. And I don't want to say just like women. I think a lot of men fall in this category too, but they were programmed from, gosh, the caveman days, like I must like work, provide, da, 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 da. But women started to tend to do that, but also be the moms, the everything, and they've
Right.
gotten to the stage of truly, and I didn't have all the kids and being a mom and stuff scenario, but I definitely became the I got a girl because my mom passed when I was younger.
Hmm.
And as soon as she passed, my dad was working a construction company. He owned a construction company. He'd be working like 80 hours a week. And so I would, if I needed to eat, I'd figure out how to cook if I needed to, or microwave or whatever I ended up doing, and if I needed
Hmm.
to have laundry, I needed to learn how to push the buttons and put the soap in and
Yeah.
nobody taught me these things. You just kind of figured it out. And then all of a sudden you become this fierce, independent woman, which I am so proud of every stage of my womanhood and all through the years, my 12-year-old, the 20-year-old, all that. But there was this point around 47, 48 when I started this journey where I started to realize that one, under that survival, and fear that I lived by, I built an amazing life and I was missing a lot of things. I was missing that love for self, that love for others, the ability to really truly connect 100% with somebody on all levels. I don't think I gave my husband the right to fully love me until 4 years, 3.5 years ago. We've been together 10 years, or
Wow.
for myself to love him, to allow that like closeness, right? So the I Got It Girl shifts from a place of control, fear, and survival into thriving, trusting, and surrendering and receiving more love and joy.
Hmm.
And it doesn't mean we cut off everything about the I Got It Girl, right? We don't like, there's so
Right.
many parts that we're taking with us that she's like strong, she's independent, she's fierce, she's powerful, she's all these things. She's done impossible stuff her entire
Right.
life and she's gotten through it. And now how we enhance her life and live more thriving instead of surviving? So when I say
Right.
that and explain that story, what comes up for you as one of your I got it girl stories when you've shifted from that place of like, I got it, I don't need anybody's help, I'm fine. That fine word cracks me up. I'm
Yeah.
fine. Into this version of you today.
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit and go back to our first conversation that we ever had when
Yes.
you told me about it. And you said something very pivotal to me. And I realize I'm not that far into it yet, and I want to be. Is you
Mm,
said that although you had great businesses and you were, in those six figures and you were doing all the things and accomplishing so much, but it wasn't until you gave up that got it and really started bringing your husband in on your dreams, bringing him
mhm,
in on your ambitions, allowing him to be a part of it and handing some of the responsibility, if you will, or
Mhm.
just the opportunities to be there, to let you vent, to share in what you were experiencing mentally, emotionally, anything. It
Mhm.
wasn't until you really opened yourself up to receive that you were able to let go.
I
And
remember that moment too. As you're
yes.
saying that, I can feel the emotion in my body, like, remembering that moment.
So,
Mm.
and it, to me, it's like, and then you had said, then there was an even greater shift where you started accomplishing more, and that
Mm.
things were coming, the universe was bringing more to you because you had the capacity to take on more. You had the capacity to bring more,
Mhm.
because you allowed him to take on some of that "I got it" mentality from you.
Mm.
So you, instead of saying, "Yeah, I can almost picture him saying, 'Hey, can I do this for you?' Instead of you saying, 'I got it,' you shifting to, 'Yeah, you know what? If you could,'" and then you give him a little bit
Mhm.
of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then when you do that, it opens you up to either, take on more, to work on something more that needed more attention, to give more, whatever it
Mhm.
was, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So I that part of my life, I'm not completely there yet, but
Mm.
I have started asking for help. Like, I'll ask my daughter, even just to be an ear and to bounce ideas off of, when normally I was just internalizing everything.
Mhm.
And having someone to share those thoughts with, ideas with, "What do you think of?" Or, she definitely has other insights. And she's a
Mhm.
millennial, so she definitely has insights and is,
They
business
do.
minded
Brilliant.
and organized, and, that's a benefit. So, and not only that, is hiring the right people. Realizing you don't have to do it all. So if
Mhm.
I went on to Fiverr, I don't know how to set up a website. I was paying for, Squarespace for how long? And,
Mhm.
for months, sitting on it, thinking I could do it. No, I can't. I don't got it. I definitely don't got it.
I
I
Nope, definitely
don't
don't
have
got
those
technology.
technical
I will
skills.
I'm same
So
with you,
then,
girl.
you know what? And in 3 days, I had my website up.
Right.
Because I gave up the reins and I said, "I can't do this." And I paid a nominal fee. It wasn't expensive. I mean, I had, looked at other companies like Squarespace, and they're charging 450, 750, and this was nothing close to that. And then I
Mhm.
had a website that I wanted in 3 days instead of waiting 3 months.
Mm.
So it's just giving up that control
Mhm.
of recognizing you don't have to learn it all. You don't have to do it all.
Mhm.
Do what you're really good at, focus there, and then hire the people that are really good at doing what they do
Mhm.
to do the other stuff. Don't stress yourself
Mhm.
out. It doesn't have to be that hard,
Absolutely.
you
Okay, so there's
know?
a lot there. I want to dive into a couple things real quick. One, thank you for reminding me of that story. Is that because that story is
Yeah.
very very close to my heart, obviously, because that was 2024 when I had to surrender, I had to let go, I had to trust, um, and I didn't have the capacity for my business and to take care
Mhm.
of my family and stuff. And I've told that story on many, many podcasts, my own and others, and it was funny because 2 years previous to that, we got married in 2023, May of 2023, and there was about 6 months previous where I could feel the shift, where I started the journey of letting go and allowing him to love me and allowing myself to feel safe to love him. Because that's
Mhm.
something that, like, the I Got It girl doesn't totally feel safe, so they have to control the scenario. And so when I allowed him to finally for both of us to finally connect in that way, it literally 6 months later, he bought me a ring, and we talked about never getting married, by the way. Like, we were like, "We don't
Wow.
plan on getting married." We're like, "We're in our 40s, 50s. We don't need it. We're good. We'll just."
Goldie Hawn and and
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. We live in
Kurt
a
Russell,
44-foot
love.
box. We live in a 44-foot box. We obviously like each other, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can make
yeah.
it. So when I got the ring, you would laugh. My response to him was, WTF? Like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, why are you giving me this? He was like, is that a yes? Yeah. I'm curious. So thank you for that. And that
Yeah.
story means a lot. And that was funny because the day we got married is the day that my stepdaughter and my grandson got hit by a drunk driver that night on our wedding night.
Oh, my god.
And so we were in the emergency room that night, and we joked that like when we said for better for worse, and we got like boom, like right away, and it just kept happening and happening and happening in a
Wow.
great way. Like I'm not, of course, I'm sad that my mom passed away. I'm sad that they went through that. And I've learned so much about myself and so much about us. And then we've just only grown closer. When you let
Oh,
go, you let God, things happen so much easier.
absolutely.
So much easier. Okay. So I can imagine. Now, did you single mom raise your kids?
I, single mom, primarily raised the youngest one 100% single mom.
Okay.
And then I was divorced at 22 from my ex-husband.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I did the whole single mom thing and, no grandparents for her, no father for her. It was just she and I.
I remember you kind of telling me that, so I want to make sure that I heard that correctly, because I can
Yeah,
imagine you established quite a bit of "I got it, girl"
I had to.
during that time frame. You had to,
Yeah,
like, you go into complete survival mode, and I always want to like just remind women like yourself of like, man, remember the impossible shit you did and got through it
yeah,
and raised a beautiful child through it all,
right,
and And those behaviors that we create through that survival can very much stop us in the future of allowing anything else to come in, like
right.
allowing support from others, allowing. So, when did that switch for you? Where, like, was there a switch that you're like, I got it, I have to like do it all because it's my daughter, like, da 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 da, like you go into such survival mode, like, was there any point that kind of clicked where like you allowed other people to support you?
It took me getting to a place financially that I was in a place that I was felt strong enough to be independent
Mhm.
and that I wasn't leaning on someone for the wrong reasons.
Mm.
So I didn't want I wanted to know that I could do it myself and
Mhm.
provide for myself, and
Mhm.
then anything outside of that is where I accept help.
Mhm.
So, like, with the business or, like, I quite a few years ago before the babies, once my kids were all grown and out of the house, I decided, well, I don't need a 3-bedroom rental anymore. I'm just going to get a tiny home or a tiny, tiny studio apartment, and I'm just going to be able to travel. That lasted about 8 months before 2 grandbabies were on their way. And but during that time, when I had that opportunity, I got to the point I was like, "You know what? I wanna do things. I wanna kayak. I wanna go away on a weekend. I wanna do this. I don't wanna be cleaning."
Mhm.
And so I decided, "You know what? What can I give up to give myself more freedom, more
Mhm.
me time?" So I decided that I was going to hire a cleaner, to come in, at least do the bathrooms and the kitchen. I hate doing the stove. I hate doing the fridge. I'm gonna pay them so that these are not my weekend chores,
Mhm.
and then they can come in on a day that's convenient when I'm in the office or whatever, or when I'm home. And that $50 is going to free up an entire day for me, and it's
Mhm.
priceless. And then I got, when I used to talk about my dreams and goals and things I was doing for myself, and I'd say them out loud, and it's not uncommon we get naysayers. Why would
Mhm.
you do that? You have plenty of time. Why would you do that? That costs so much money. Why would you do that? You can't clean your own house. But you and I had talked about this at one point, and we said that is someone's business. Just like I'm starting a small business and an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, someone who has a cleaning business, a local woman or man,
Mhm.
they need to be supported as well. So why not pay them to do what they're already doing? And they do so incredibly well and much quicker than I would,
Much better than I would.
much better than I would, and pay them so that I have the freedom to do the things that I truly enjoy and I'm working for.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
not working to stay home, for me to just stay home on Saturday and to clean.
Mhm.
Although I
Mhm.
enjoy it, that's fine. But I'd rather be outside doing yard work personally. So
Yeah.
for me, the shift came in a couple years ago, giving away things like that, letting go of things like that, letting go of
Mhm.
what other people's opinions were. Uh,
Oof.
the things that I want for myself. You know, we both love Rachel Hollis. And I remember she even said on, one of her lives or something that she had gotten a cleaning lady, and the pushback and the insult and then why?
Mm-hmm.
It that enabled her to be able to do this, this, and this with her kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you leave the house and you work, that's a whole nother podcast, you're a bad mom. But if you free up time and you pay someone to do a job that they want to be paid to do so
Mm-hmm.
that you can do those things with your kids, you're lazy. Help
Mm-hmm.
me make it
It
make
makes
sense.
sense. Make it make sense. No, I love that. So it's funny because I know people that are listening right now is like, I would love a cleaner. Okay, so if you're having that thought right now, like what is holding you back?
Right.
And and it's funny, even I remember even some of the stay-at-home moms that I've worked with in the past, there's that they they would get chastised for getting childcare, being a stay-at-home mom, or getting a cleaner, or getting anything to support them in the process, to
Right.
give them some of their freedom, their own time. So they never did it until they met me. And then we'd go through some mentorship, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so I priced out like how much is it to have a full-time cleaner, have a full-time chef, have a full-time chauffeur, priced it out. And so I was like, okay, that's a $750,000 valued job for
Mhm.
someone. And the stay-at-home mom, and then is and we're talking about ones who work and this and that too, but even the stay-at-home mom is worthy of getting some time off.
Yes.
Everyone is. So if you're thinking of something right now, as Tanina's explaining this, guys, make sure that like step into it. It doesn't have to be like I'm going to treat myself. No, no, no. It's a non-negotiable. Like
Right.
once you decide that it's something that you desire and you want it in your life, you don't have to be deserving of it or worthy of it. You're worthy of all of it since the day you were born. You have the value that you bring to the table. You get to have what you want. So
Right.
so take note, guys. What is that one thing that you haven't done that you want to do? Is it a cleaner like Tanine? Is it I want to have a sitter for a while so that I can just go do yoga and go do the things that I want to do? Like what is it?
Mhm.
Because that's so important, and that
And
I love that you're now starting to say yes to that stuff for yourself.
and don't ask for permission. That is the one piece of
Mm.
advice. Don't ask for the permission of those closest to you, because those are gonna be the first ones to say, "Why? You shouldn't." I stopped asking for permission a couple years ago. It's probably in the last 2 years. I don't talk about what I'm doing, the moves I'm making, and I don't talk about the decisions I've made for myself that
Mhm,
are right for me, because I don't need
mhm,
anybody's, validation. I don't need anybody's permission. And it's super
mhm,
important when you have something that you want and you feel it in your core. This is
mhm.
something I really want. That is the universe telling you, do the thing.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Can't say yes enough to that. And and it's funny. So let's talk about that for a second. The people who push back or give some kind of feedback that's not supportive, you know, I know why they're doing it. Why do you think they're doing it?
They they don't have the courage to do it themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe not a cleaner, and maybe not someone to come mow the lawn so the husband doesn't have to do it and the family can have a day. Or
Mhm,
maybe you want someone to do your laundry because you
mhm,
hate doing laundry and it takes you 4 hours a week or more if you have kids.
mhm,
Um, and you don't want to, they think
mhm,
it doesn't fit their life. It doesn't have to.
mhm.
It's not about them.
Yeah.
So,
And I love so you're spot on. Like it's usually when someone is projecting something onto us, it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with
right?
our decision. It has nothing. It's there's either a wow, I desire that too, but I can't have it. Or the bigger one is that somewhere back in history, back in their stories, that's not productive, that's not safe. Because the foundation things is love, safety, and belonging, right? And so
Mhm.
most people are saying something to keep you safe, to keep you loved, to keep you belonging and connected in society.
Right.
And that's the foundational needs. And so when people react, I say, not respond, because responding
Mhm.
is pausing and actually like assessing and going, good for you. I'm glad you got that for yourself. I'm proud of you. You know,
Right.
reacting is, why would you do that? You've got the time. Why would you waste that money? Boom. Money
Right.
scarcity, not that like that's wasting money. That's irresponsible. So they're trying to keep you safe from wasting money, being irresponsible that they learned from whatever generational story they have. And
Right.
I think what's really important to pinpoint here, like you said, like I don't allow those people, I don't share stuff because what they their feedback doesn't serve me anymore, right?
Right.
And I think it's important to understand that when we can understand the positive intention behind somebody's reaction to to whatever we're doing, and that
Right.
it has nothing to do with us,
Right.
then we can separate the emotion and the reaction that we might want to have to the person. Because
Right.
initially, when this started happening years ago, I'd be like, okay, and I defend myself, and I defend myself, and I would defend. No need to defend, and no
Yeah.
need to even. So you know what I say now? You're gonna laugh. I say, "Thank you for loving me.
Oh, I
Thank you for
love
trying to keep me
that.
safe. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, whichever category I feel like it is." And they
Yeah.
always get dumbfounded. Like one of my clients one time was like, "I hate going home for the holidays because my mom just picks on me, and she just like she questions all my decisions and all the purchases my husband and I make, and this and that." I said, "Okay." I was like, "So why do you think she's doing that?" And we went through the process just like now, and it was because she wanted to keep her safe. She wanted to keep
Yeah.
her from not like harming her financial well-being or whatever it is, right? So she went, I said, so go into this holiday, the next holiday, like go in with the energy that it's going to be an amazing holiday. You're going to have amazing conversation. And when she brings
Yeah.
something up, just go, Mom, thank you for loving me. Her mom couldn't say another word the rest of the day
I love it.
because she was so
I love
like,
it.
okay, okay, you're right. Because they really are coming from all they know, like from what they know, right? Like whatever their experiences are. We all are coming from whatever we know.
Right.
And it's usually from a place of love, you know?
Right.
And even the most horrible things that people do to people do like that have that there's usually some reason why behind they're doing it based on all they know, you
Right.
know? And so
Right.
so yeah.
Absolutely.
So but I'm not saying you have to accept it. So I'm not saying like, well, Tanine, you need to accept what they're saying. No, no, no. You
Right.
get to choose who you have in your world, choose who you listen to, choose who you know, but we can love them from afar.
Right.
Like you say.
Right. Right. You know, I learned years ago, I was working when I first started working at my prior employer in 2018. It was really tough. And they were the women I was working with were really making it hard for me to be there.
Mm,
And I started almost immediately. I found a podcast of a woman who used to be an attorney. Now she is a woman's right, like a feminist and woman right activist and all this stuff. Her name is Kira Lowenthal, and
mm,
I started listening to her podcast. And I don't know if I can say this, bleep it out if you need to, but
mm-mm.
it's called Unfuck Yourself.
Yeah. Cussing
And
is allowed on this one, by the way.
okay. But that's the
All the
name of
cussing.
it. And her,
Mm,
and she is just a powerhouse and incredible. And she helped me realize that I am not responsible for how someone feels.
yes.
I am not responsible for how they feel about a purchase I made. I'm not responsible for how, I'm responsible if I made them, if I intentionally went out of my way to inflict cause a feeling that
Hmm.
is hurtful to them, that I'm responsible for.
Hmm.
But, I am not responsible if they're having a hard time accepting the decisions I made in my life.
Yeah.
They're going to need to work through that, and I am not a part of that process for them.
Hmm.
I don't have to work through it with them, and I won't.
No. And here's so I'm gonna flip this for a second.
Yeah,
So we can say that about others, but when we feel that twinge of resistance, jealousy, like judgment, because we're human and it
yeah.
happens, when we feel that within ourselves, this is just as important to realize that, okay, we have to pause. And I use this
Mhm.
acronym called PARRR. We have to pause and assess why are we feeling that way? Ask ourselves some questions of like, is this resistance? Is this like what inside? I ask the question, what inside in me needs to heal or needs to grow? Um, because it'll throw me off because I try, try to be a good person, not be judgmental, not be like this
Yeah,
and that. But I will like sometimes it'll just our old self, or the versions or the thing or human.
yeah,
So I pause and assess, and then so I can actually respond to the situation versus react, and I can make a very um, radically responsible for myself
Right.
response to whatever it
Exactly.
is. And I mean, one time I remember just being really like, it almost felt like a jealous feeling towards someone else's success, towards like there was like a crossover in our clients. A lot of my clients started working with this other person because I introduced them to them. So okay, I introduced them to them, and they're amazing. And so of course they started doing things with that person, and I felt really bitter. I felt really
Yeah.
angry. But then I had to pause and go, radical responsibility for self. You introduced them to her. You worked with her. You loved her. You like admired her, and really you worked with her for 4 years, and yet you have this feeling of pissed off because the other people saw the same thing you saw.
Right.
And so I was like,
Ooh.
ooh, hold on a second, Jackie. Like you
Owie.
created that, right? You created this.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you created it because now they're getting what they needed. And they
Right.
got like, because there's just people, we're all different as coaches and mentors,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
they've grown because of it. And so, but in the moment, I was like, screw you. Like, what is like, and so, so it, so my PARRR acronym is pause, assess, and the first R is react and respond instead of react.
Mhm.
And then the last two R's in that situation, I had to receive what the gifts were in the situation and release what was didn't serve me. I had to release
Love it.
the bitterness or the anger, or the frustration, or the why not me, the wah 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 wah. I call it
Resent.
my
Yeah.
little girl inside of me is like, what the heck? And then and I had to receive the fact that my fellow my clients were getting more support, and they were getting support to help them go to another level in what she'd served them in. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
we
Yeah.
all, it takes a village. So
Right.
now I mean I have clients who have multiple coaches that I've referred them to, and then and people have referred to me as like their secondary and third coach. Like so
Right.
we there's different things. So take radical responsibility for yourself, and really, and that there's not from shame or blame, from a no judgment, just curiosity. So,
Right. Right. I love that.
okay, so you are now you there's something else you said to me yesterday, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it, but we were going to share it anyway. You're like, okay, great. You mentioned to me that like you are now putting your foot down more and saying no to your family, like the pride
Yes.
and joy, the people you value the most, love the most, you dedicate your life to. But you also
Right.
discovered that you're like there's this line that was getting crossed, that it's
Right.
like I'm doing everything for them, everything, I will do the world for them, I'll do. And this is not just you, this is every mother, grandmother out there.
Right.
They will go above, beyond, and everything, and now to the point of like enabling, almost
Right.
to the
Right.
point of like not allowing the kids to kind of like figure shit out without us.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I love that you shared that with me, because I want you to share your experience in this, because so many are experiencing this and still don't know how to cut the cord or say no.
Yeah. And that took, well, you know, going back to the resentment. And years ago, there was a time that I became resentful. God bless, sorry, Lex, but my youngest child, and I love her. We are just thick as thieves and close. But I was becoming resentful because I felt like I was doing more to help her survive than giving her the reins to
Mm-hmm.
drive the path that she is on.
Yes.
And it was exhausting. I was exhausted mentally, emotionally, and I felt like I'm just enabling her, and it was hurting us both. So I
Mm-hmm.
started therapy, and in therapy I started being given the tools to say no. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I will spend every last dime that I have on my children and my grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
And they are wonderful. They don't expect it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would usually, like, up until like probably in the last year, they stopped, but I would get text messages with stuff that the kids want. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Meh, bye.
Yeah.
Just send it,
Exactly.
without thinking twice. But then I wasn't thinking about where that money's gonna be in the future or what did I need
Mm.
it for in the future. I
Oh,
was
that's a
just
good
doing
point.
it. My grandbabies would love this, or my girls would love this. I just want them to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the scarcity mindset. I felt like I gave so little when they were younger. I was
Mm-hmm.
poor. I was a
Mm-hmm.
single mom. Sometimes it was living on, below means.
Mhm.
And so I always wanted to say yes now because I can.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and then it got to the point when I started feeling resentment, I knew I was doing it wrong. So I had
Say
to
that
get
again. Say that again.
when
When
I
I
got to the point of resentment, I knew I was doing it wrong.
That
My
will apply to everything in life, guys. Okay, keep going.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Because if you are not able to give from a place of freedom and grace and joy, you're doing it
Mhm.
wrong.
Mhm.
So, even if it's, if mine started to build up because I didn't know how to say no, I didn't want to offend anyone. And I think we've all been there. We
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
wanna offend someone and, or let them think we don't love them. So, finally, I said, "You know what? Let's just make Amazon gift lists, for
Mhm.
all the grandbabies, for all the kids, so that when I have the opportunity and the ability, I'm going to just surprise them with something, or I'll know what to buy them for Christmas or their birthdays."
Mhm.
And it became, more fun because as they're constantly changing, and you'll learn you can buy your grandbabies 5 gifts in a year, and 2 months after they get the gift, it's probably going out the door being donated because the
Right.
kid doesn't play with it anymore.
Right.
So, you don't have to buy 5 gifts in 5 months.
No.
I
No.
mean, like, it's really I that's pulled me back too. But, so it got to the point that I started saying no, or I can't do this, or I can't, um, because I realized if it doesn't bring me joy,
Mhm.
or if I feel a twinge or a tightness in my chest when I have to say yes or
Mm.
no, guess what? It's not yes. It
Mm.
is it is definitely no. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, and I wanna pin this here. Did you hear, guys, how she said her body told her first?
Yeah.
Like, your body's gonna tell you when something is not aligned in the moment, not feeling right. It's not a hell yes. It's if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, in my
Right.
world. And not everybody responds that way in decision making, but the body is always the same. Like, the body will tell you in some way. And I love that you're honoring that. That's beautiful because I know I was so disconnected from my body till I did this work. Like, I was like, I would carry like the heaviest shoulders, like rocks,
Mm,
like cinder blocks in my shoulders of carrying the whole weight of the world, of
yeah.
everything. And I have to solve everything. I have to fix everything. And then I'd be like, why am I so tense? I'd go to massage therapists. They're like, girl, like, you need to like release something here. They would try
Yeah.
to like work out whatever's there. Now they're like, I was like, hey, I'll tell the massage therapist, I'm like, I usually wear my tension on my shoulders. Like, well, you ain't got no tension now, girl. You're loose and free. So that's how I know, like, I've moved past that. But I thank you for sharing that. And it doesn't, like, just because we shift in the yeses and the nos, it doesn't mean we don't love anybody less, or we don't love any,
Right.
like, we still love them the same. But it's giving them an opportunity to, well, even in my scenario, I think I told you with my situation, like, I'd watch my husband, like, who didn't have the money, like, try to give the money, right? And
Mhm.
then there was this like everyday request, just a little for that, just a little for that, just a little for that, just a little for this. And I was like, you're not paying your own bills. Like, you're not handling your own life.
Right.
And so they need to learn how to handle theirs. And these were all kids above the age of 21, 22. They need
Right.
to understand that they're going to get through it. They're going to figure it out. Even if it is like they get to their lowest moment, they're going to figure it out. But if we
Right.
don't allow them to figure it out, they will not. And then they won't have the skills to
Yep.
live a productive life later on, right?
Yeah. Well,
Most of us, our generation was forced into figuring it out really quick.
right.
I don't know what it is about this whole 40s, 50s, 60-year-olds. We were
Yeah.
like, sink or swim, kiddo.
Yep. Well, 5 years later and working through everything with my daughter, and it wasn't really working it through with her, it was working on myself on how to respond. And in doing so, she has an amazing career with the company I used to be at. She's been there 2 years now. Before she did that, she went back to school,
Mm-hmm.
and she got a medical billing and coding, certificate, and she is thriving. She is making
Boom.
excellent money, has her own car for a couple years now that didn't get repoed like it would have in the past. I've
Mm-hmm.
been there, but in the past, and she is soaring on her own wings. and
Yes.
feeling, and she's holding her chest and her head high because she knows she did it on her own.
Yes. And that is the point right there. Like
Right.
that is huge. We're uh we get that frustration you felt in your body, or that like resentment you felt in your
Tightness.
body
Yeah.
was a was I call that, like, I feel like that is the between the version of you that felt like you needed to like really prove yourself to the kids and
Mhm.
overcompensate for what they didn't have, like you mentioned earlier, that like you're filling that like hole inside of you through them.
Right.
And then you're becoming this woman who is filling the hole herself.
Right.
And that woman understands how important it is for them to do the same.
Right.
And that pull that we feel, guys, that's a good pull. I used to say frustration is a message. Like
Right.
frustration is a message for me. It's like, okay, what where are you like growing differently now? Like, or what's shifting and what's
Right.
so so I love that. I love that. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So
And
good.
there's a difference between growing pains and that tightness that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Growing pains are something that propel you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that tightness, think of it as that tightness is drawing you in.
Oh
Growing
yeah.
is bringing you out. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this, but that tightness that brings like that, that's when you know something's wrong.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it. And there's a check that I do when you describe that tightness. There's this thing I do with myself that I kind of like hold my hand in the middle of my body. I go, okay, are you feeling this resistance and tightness because you're scared and like you fear doing the next thing or something?
Yeah.
Or is it because it's just not aligned with you? So I kind of go like, okay, one side is, well, okay, this is scary. It's new. It's different. My body's like, what the heck? Why are you doing this scary thing? It doesn't know
Right.
it, but that I can do. Like that I can move through the scary, the nervous, the unknown. But when it's not aligned with me and just
Right.
it's just not aligned with my net, like for me, then that's I got to honor that and walk
Right.
away. And
Right.
so and it's funny because I'll stand in the middle of the room and I'll just put my hand in front of me, and no one knows what I'm doing. I'm like, what are you doing, Jackie? I'm like,
You're alone. She's checking
I'm,
herself.
I'm checking myself. I'm checking whether I'm resisting or I'm like scared. I'm like, and my husband's like,
I'm gonna
okay,
check
girl.
myself before I wreck myself. Here I go. Leave me
Exactly.
alone.
I love it.
Someone's
All
going
right.
down if I don't get this right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, we can probably talk forever, but for the sake of like trying to keep these in that 30 to 45 minutes,
Yeah.
I wanted to just stop and go. If somebody wanted to like, be in your world or connect with you more, because I heard something they're like, oh, I so relate. How can they do that with you?
I'm on Instagram. I think it's just Tanean_S. Pink Seal Notary is also on there. It's TS_Pink Seal Notary. And I am on LinkedIn, Tanean Schaller, or my website. It's
Okay.
pinksealnotary.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll have all those in the show notes for you guys to follow up through, especially if you're in the Pennsylvania area. I haven't physically met
Yes.
Tanine in person yet, but I'll be in Pennsylvania in October of this year.
October.
So I'm so excited. I'm going to give you the biggest hug ever. You're going to be like, girl, let go. um, so if there's one thing out of everything we've talked about today that you want to make sure that they walk away with, that you just want to pin, and don't forget this, guys, like, what is it? What's the biggest takeaway today?
It is move in silence and
Mm,
and move unapologetically.
mhm.
You know, if you we constantly as women, I think more so than men, are constantly apologizing, especially, oh, we're going to hurt someone's feelings. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You don't like my decision for myself. I'm so sorry. No, 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 no. Move unapologetically in silence. Make
Mm,
your moves in silence. That has been the biggest way, or the most meaningful way that I projected my successes. Is it's not that you aren't proud of them. They'll see. If
mhm.
you may move in silence, but people are gonna see the changes you're making.
They're gonna feel it too.
They're
The
absolutely,
f
your energy's gonna change. You hold your head up higher. You don't have to shout it from the hilltops
Mhm,
that this big momentous change is coming. Let them see it.
mhm, mhm,
You know what I mean? And I think that's been the biggest thing for me, is just not asking for permission when I feel something is
mhm,
needed or wanted.
mhm.
mostly wanted for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
don't ask permission, and I, do the thing, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Yes.
Start making notes about it, write it down, write your dreams down directly in front of me. I got this busy wall behind me, and directly in front of me, I have my vision board.
Love it.
And but that one thing is always, move up unapologetically in silence.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And I always say awaken, empower, and own yourself unapologetically in this world. And I remember one of the biggest, some, what I said in the very beginning of this journey of building this business, I said, you know what? I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, wherever I want, however I
Mhm.
want, without having to
Right.
ask for permission from anyone.
Right.
And then I ended it and I added to it, including myself. Because the top person that denies permission is herself.
Absolutely.
So, so guys,
Absolutely.
when she says permission unapologetically, like listen to these words, I would love for you to sit and think, guys, if you, where are you not giving yourself permission? It's
Mhm.
not other people. Where are you not giving yourself permission to go for it, like she said? So,
Right.
so good. So good. Okay. So, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you for being here.
Yeah.
I loved having you here.
I loved
And
it. This was great. We could do 20 more of these things. We got a lot to
I
talk about.
know
We got a lot to unpack.
I have like it's so funny because everyone that I've met so far and done this with, I've legitimately like I could have a series with each one of you. Because
Right?
like I've been little I don't want to say cherry picking, but I've been like, yeah, okay, I know who I want on. I know like I because there's a vibe and we know we can have deep conversations and not fear it, you know?
Right.
And I know there's deeper places we could even go beyond this episode that could blow people's minds. So
Right.
all right,
Right.
everybody. So those of you listening on whether it's on your favorite podcast channel, don't forget to follow or subscribe or whatever the words are. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe so that you get notified when this episode and any episode comes up. So thank you
Thanks for
guys for
having
taking.
me.
You're
I
so
loved it.
welcome. And um, don't forget to share if any of the nuggets that Tanean shared on this episode is something that a friend needs to hear, that you're like, oof, she needs to hear this. Please share this out. So thank you guys and
Yeah.
have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you on the next episode.